What's up, everyone? We're back. Welcome to Doctorly Unhinged.
I'm Dr. Maxfield.
And I am Dr. Shah. And we recorded this episode a week ago, and we did it without supervision from our parents. And ultimately, we messed up the recording. So usually we have Pat, who you've heard of before, on the calls, supervising our audio levels to make sure that we didn't do anything crazy and everything's recording properly. We did the last one without Pat, and we messed up the audio. So we are essentially recording a previous episode, but with a new fresh take. We're going to also add in some new hot topics as well. So, Dr. Maxfield, welcome back. Any life updates?
Yes, I've been traveling quite a bit. We had the pleasure, after I was coming back from France, went straight to San Diego. We had the opportunity to speak at a conference, which was outstanding. A really cool experience to be able to share that with you. The SDPA, an honor to be a part of that. And then back in the groove, which I've never been more thankful for, to just get home and be back in the grind. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yes, same. So, Dr. Maxfield and I presented on stage together for the first time. It was a show of sorts, and we were really honored to be invited to the Society of Dermatologic PAs to present about viral trends on social media, what's true and what's false, also how to grow a social media presence as a professional online. And then afterwards, we went to a Padres game, which I was surprised by the turnout, honestly. The stadium was packed, the energy was high, and I didn't realize how popular baseball was in San Diego.
Yeah, it's been about 20 years, maybe. It probably has been about 20 years since I've been to a baseball game. That's a long time. I can't believe I'm old enough to say something like that. But yeah, I was surprised too. Baseball games are funny. It's kind of like there's such a lull. Like the majority of the game is waiting, and it's just such a different dynamic than I think most other sports.
He's ultimately saying that he thinks it's a boring sport.
But the crowd is fun. Like in between all the breaks, everyone's trying to stay busy and do stuff. So that was interesting. Like the wave or chant or whatever else you do. Intermission, get up and get food every couple of minutes. It's interesting.
No, people were super into it. I was very much impressed. So today we are going to be covering the update on the California retinol ban for teenagers. We're also going to be going into the 34 products that are game changing according to Buzzfeed. These are your skincare products that are going to solve all of your skincare woes. And we're also going to be talking about some of the steps you need to do to build collagen, and then something a little bit about Vaseline at the end, and a little bit about Jake Paul launching a skincare line. Add that to the list of celebrities launching skincare lines. Now let's jump into what we do every week, which is our product of the day. Dr. Maxfield, do you have a product of the day?
I do, and I don't think I've talked about this one quite yet. If I have, I'm sorry. This is from Kelly Slater, professional surfer, alleged GOAT in that arena. He has backed or has created a sunscreen, Freaks of Nature. And we shot a video on the best sunscreen, spoiler alert, that should be coming out probably this weekend. And this is excellent. It is
really.
Oh, I love it. It's top tier. So we'll see in the video. I'm gonna just do the thing where I just like reshoot the end, which we did 2 years ago in the best sunscreens video, ironically. But this just came out, and I think it's outstanding. I think it's the best active sunscreen available at the moment. It has its flaws, but nothing more gentle, effective, relatively blendable. So for that active person, I think it's a must. And to be clear, it's the SPF 30. He has a couple products, but the SPF 30 is my favorite.
Now, do you have it to sample on camera with us?
It is downstairs in the bathroom down there, because I used it this morning. I've put this to the test. So I ran 2 5Ks in it, which is just like my normal run. I've surfed now 2 consecutive weekends. I worked out in it twice, and I've done life in it. And so for a pure mineral, non-nano zinc sunscreen, it actually settles into my skin tone, and it's not dramatically casty. Beard is always a beard with any mineral sunscreen. But overall, it blends. The aesthetics are acceptable for what it is.
Acceptable. Doesn't burn when you apply it in the eyes, stays on all day is basically what you're telling me.
100%. Dripped, poured into my eyes over the course of my tests, my fitness test, poured into my eyes. Zero irritation.
Staying in line with the sunscreens, my product of the day is going to be the Round Lab sunscreen, SPF 50 PAA+. And can we get a discount code for people for the Korean sunscreens, maybe from Yes Style? Do you think?
Yeah, let's reach out because we need to.
So I will be applying it live right now, but it's just super lightweight, as you can expect from most Korean sunscreens. No matter how much you put on, it seems to blend pretty well. All right, so while I apply this, let's hop in to our topics of the day.
One I'm actually really excited to talk about, and I'm really disappointed I didn't record last time. For those of you watching on YouTube, you get to see Dr. Shah's interesting take on sunscreen application. That's very precise. It's like the dotting method to the extreme. For those on podcast, he's got about 15 distinct separate dots across his face for very even distribution. You can hear the slight slapping and patting, a little bit of an ASMR here. It's great. But the first article that I think we're jumping into, right?
Well, first, update on the retinol ban. So
quickly, that's what you want first.
Quickly jumping. We had covered before that there was potential that in California they were gonna force people to present ID when buying products with retinol in them, and that bill did not pass in California. So TBD. Now, no longer they're going to do that because they wanted to keep teenagers from buying these products both online and in the store. And as a result, they tried to pass a bill in California. It did not move forward. So we'll just kind of keep surveilling things like this, new regulations around new ingredients, new products, things like that. But no update there. So let's jump into the 34 products that are going to solve all your skincare problems.
Okay, now here's why I was excited for this one in particular. Again, we've looked at this list. We haven't gone all the way through this list, but there's some fun and wild products on here. These are legitimately 34 very interesting, some of them very viral products. And are they really going to solve all of your skincare woes? We'll find out. We'll probably get through half the list today. It is pretty darn long. And then we'll probably get through the next half next time. Now, the first product, this is Tony Moly's, not sure, octopus-shaped scrub stick to remove whiteheads, blackheads, and exfoliate your skin. You can just rinse it off with warm water and you're done, it says. So, is this a hit? Is it a miss? Is it going to solve your pore problems?
You know, with all of these products on Amazon, especially these ones that sell really well, it's never really quite clear what is in these. They say that there's dead sea salt, taurine, black peat water, and it's meant to control your sebum. It's not quite clear what is actually in this product. So take that, obviously, with a gigantic grain of sea salt. This is a $12 product that is meant to remove oils and impurities. There's no evidence based on the ingredient list that it would do quite that. Low risk to purchase it, but I don't think this is going to solve all of your skincare woes. If you have blackheads, the best ingredients to look for are retinoids, salicylic acid, and those are probably going to be your two best options. Benzoyl peroxide also works. But niacinamide also helps to control oil, but none of these ingredients here are really going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, I'm with Dr. Shah. I don't believe this is actually going to meet its endpoint. However, I will say, can you imagine if all of your skincare looked like this? If my whole skincare room was filled with small little animals that also just happen to be functional, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty lit. Like 100 little octopuses on my shelf over here, just all with different things. That would be wild.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think that most people don't go for that aesthetic. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think most people want toys all over their countertop. So I think that would be the challenge.
We'll see. It's worked for this brand. The next one, though, one's what I'm familiar with. This is the True Skin Vitamin C Serum. It helps to, quote, even your skin tone and reduce the appearance of dark spots, fine lines, and wrinkles. Over 92,000 reviews on Amazon have given it 5-star results. A budget-friendly alternative is their main claim, and it says get it from Amazon for about $20, $18.68, although I know that price fluctuates. So a product I'm very familiar with. I actually worked with this brand back in the day, and here's how I've always positioned this, and I think what they said is it's reasonable. So it's a budget-friendly vitamin C product. Back in the day, I think it was close to $10. I know we talked about it, but it used to be even less expensive pre-inflation. And the main ingredient is sodium ascorbyl phosphate. And just like in our vitamin C video, you'll find sodium ascorbyl phosphate as an acceptable vitamin C formulation. I think it's good. I don't think it's premier, but it seems to be very inexpensive to work with because most of these products with that main ingredient are relatively cheap. So if you're going to introduce a vitamin C, you want to start vitamin C, if you really want to emphasize your budget with vitamin C, I think it's fine to start with this one and work your way in.
Yeah. So sodium ascorbate phosphate, one of the arguments would be that it doesn't have great penetration into the skin, but it does have antioxidant benefits. It's shown to help with dark spots. It's been shown to boost collagen. So, it does a lot of the things that vitamin C serums do. Now, I would kind of make the argument back when this was like $9.99 that, this was a good kind of starter, gentle vitamin C that was probably going to have some benefits for most people. Now, because they have like almost category dominance on Amazon, 144,000 reviews by being that inexpensive form of vitamin C. And then now they've raised their prices to the point where it looks like the list price on this True Skin product is actually $29.99, and they're discounting it right now for 38% off. So standard pricing is $29.99. They're selling it for $19, but I would argue now that you can get an L-ascorbic acid vitamin C product that is very similar to the SkinCeuticals one, whether it's from Timeless or another brand, for similar price point, and probably will see more benefits with it than you would see with this product. So I don't know really what the proposition of this product is anymore, given that they've raised the price so much compared to a lot of other products. I think a lot of people will buy it because it probably ranks really high on Amazon, but I think it ranked really high because it was so unaffordable before, and now they've raised the price. So that's super interesting to me that they've done that, but I guess it ultimately makes sense.
Yeah, that is a very good observation. I was actually looking at the Timeless as soon as you started talking. It's like that. It's a great point. Timeless retailing on Amazon for $35, selling for $28. So there's your L-ascorbic acid. That's a wildly popular one. Every time we talk about vitamin C, someone pops in and says, "What about Timeless?" Every time. It's a good one.
And the other thing that's interesting is that the SkinCeuticals patent expires soon-ish, I think in maybe a year. And once the SkinCeuticals patent expires, people are just going to rip that formula off. So ultimately, you'll have the exact same formula at the exact same pH with the exact same ingredients, probably coming in at $15 ultimately. So yeah, that's probably going to happen, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. Let's move on to the next product. So this is the Saim Hydrating Eye Stick, which actually looks like a polar bear. So this is, we had the little ghost looking thing, and now we have the polar bear stick. This is an Icelandic hydrating eye stick with cooling eye balm for dark circles and puffiness. So this is meant to help with dark circles and puffiness. This has sold 7,000 in the past month with 8,000 reviews on Amazon. It has ingredients like Icelandic plant, which I don't know what that's going to do for you, but it also has xylitol, niacinamide, and adenosine and other marine ingredients, glutathione even for brightening. So it does have some ingredients that make a little bit of sense here, and that seaweed extract that seems to be really helpful underneath the eyes when you get these, especially with the marine algae eye cream from Biossance. For some reason, it works really well. Could be because of the marine algae that are in it that seem to be tightening the skin. So I'm not particularly against this product.
Yeah, I'm looking at the full ingredients list here. The only knock I think so there's two, and I thought I remembered this. So third ingredient on the list is alcohol, and then somewhere on here is also fragrance. And that would be the main knock. So it has a couple potentially irritating ingredients for the sensitive skin. Otherwise, functionally, it could be fine. You're telling me people don't want toys in their skincare in their bathrooms, but two of the top three look like little animals.
Yeah, I don't know who the audience is for this, but again, yeah, you're right. I mean, I've always said the under eye area is the most sensitive skin in the body, so this one does have fragrance. I would be really careful for that because the skin under the eyes don't have the same reparative properties. And also looks like it comes in multiple colors. There's a pink one, there's a blue one, and they are kind of fun looking, but from a utility perspective, not the worst ingredient list for under the eye. As far as like what they actually do for the under eye area, some of the ingredients actually make sense. But again, not a product I'd highly recommend, even at $10. The next up is the Liliana Naturals eye cream. So another eye cream here. And eye creams are actually incredibly popular, and I think the main reason why is because a lot of people have issues underneath the eyes. And it's one of the issues that most people notice really early on. A lot of things don't bother people. And then they just wake up one day and they look at themselves on Zoom and they say, I look tired. My eyes look puffy. My bags are people are asking me,
Hmm.
Are you tired? Or you look tired, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of that is seen in the eyes. The eyes is the area where you're going to notice that the most. Unfortunate thing is that most eye creams aren't going to have the results, even when they have very thoughtful ingredients in them. You still need to expect, I would say, moderate results with them. There's not going to be any like life changing, even when with good ingredient selections. Now, I'm a huge fan of eye creams. That being said, you have to be. It's all about setting your expectations. If you're expecting, one use to reverse all your under eye woes, you're just not going to get that, no matter how well formulated that eye cream is. This one in particular has rosemary leaf, rose hip seed oil, which has some retinoid in it. It also has coconut oil. Some people say it's comedogenic. It really depends on the person. Some vitamin C in it, ascorbyl palmitate form, panthenol, an ingredient I love, niacinamide, an ingredient I love. But again, muted ingredient list. It doesn't look like this one has fragrance in it, so it could be a little bit more of a gentle option for most people. But in the end, muted results at best. This ingredient looks decent to me.
I'm not a huge proponent for eye creams in general, but my knocks on them they're expensive, and then the expectations are always higher than the product delivers. Here, I mean, it's going to be about $20. I think the ingredient list is actually very solid for your basic brightening and hydrating eye cream. I mean, the picture I don't know, you can't see this picture if you're on podcast. The before and after picture is wild. Like, there's no way this product delivers that result consistently. I feel like they also used like the Peter Thomas Roth, like firming eye gel, or there's some more to it than that with this picture. But if you want a hydrating, modest bet brightening eye cream, I would back this. I think it looks good.
Yeah. One of the challenges, I think, when looking at this before and after, one of the things I actually kind of like about it is that it appears to be the same person with the same lighting for the most part. One has like a better front facing. You can kind of see like the ring light versus not having the ring light in one photo. So it could be a lighting issue. But they did say they did have it be 2 months apart. So, at least they're giving it enough time to see results. So I would, with any product, you really have to give it time. We see this like with Remedy, like we send products out to people, we always are monitoring customer service inquiries that come in, and, somebody uses the product for a week or even a day, and then they say they don't see results. And, that's why we have such a long return policy for any dissatisfaction, is because it does take time, with skincare products. Maybe even the first bottle is not going to do it for you, especially if it's like a more persistent issue, deeper, darker spots. Things like this just take a little bit of time to see results. So it's kind of like working out, where you see modest improvement after month one, and just it's something where you have to stick with it. And then it's really that you start to see those major changes when you compare your before and after from a year ago, right? So I always recommend people, especially when you have a problem that you're trying to treat. Let's say it's under eye issues. Let's say it's hyperpigmentation, which we're going to be talking about. The next product is for hyperpigmentation. Take before and afters, and don't look at yourself every day in the mirror like that. Don't take a picture every day. Take a picture on day one, take a picture in a month, take a picture in 2 months. And when you compare those photos, that's when you're actually going to start to see the difference. It's the same thing when you go to the gym and you look at yourself in the mirror day one, and then in a month later, and then another month later. If you take photos, you start to notice a difference in your body. And that's when people who see you, haven't seen you in a long time, will comment on changes in your skin and in your body. But when you see yourself every day, you don't notice those changes. So it's just something, a tip for people who are actually really trying to monitor results and see if products are working for them.
Yeah, no, great tip. And like Dr. Shah said, the next product is for dark spots. This has gone viral quite a few times, perhaps not recently, but it had a huge viral moment. This is the kojic acid dark spot remover soap. If you don't remember, it's that orange bar. It comes in circles, it comes in rectangles. And of course, it's primarily a kojic acid bar. This one in particular that's for sale also has HA, shea butter, olive oil, retinol, turmeric, for your whole body, including your bikini area. And my main problem with this and this laundry, I mean, good, retinol, kojic acid, these are great. Turmeric, sure. Now, you're washing, you're lathering, and you're rinsing it off. I think it's the least effective way to use these active ingredients. And even if you did use this, I still wouldn't say it replaces your use of these ingredients elsewhere in your routine. Like, you still should use retinol. You still should use kojic acid elsewhere even if you're washing in the shower. So I've never been a big fan of this product in particular. I don't think it helps as much as people think. And the viral videos were pretty wild. It was like an eraser on a whiteboard, the before and afters. So I never believed those. Those were a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, you're just never going to see those type of results with, a cleanser, really. Like acne cleansers, especially when they're meant to kill bacteria, that those make sense, right? They kill the acne causing bacteria, which can happen quickly. But something like this, where the ingredients really need to set into the skin, and you're going to wash it off right after, you don't expect it to make a huge difference. It does have thoughtful ingredients: vitamin C, retinol, kojic acid. Those are great ingredients for dark spots, and even turmeric has some benefits in dark spots. It's probably a really nice soap. Again, it has decylglucoside in it. I've talked about decylglucoside before. This is a emerging contact allergen. I think it was like the 2017 contact allergen of the year. And we're seeing it in more and more cleansers as a basically alternative to SLS. And it turns out it's a very, very common allergen in people. And so it's just the alkyl glucosides in general are known contact allergens. So no need to not use a cleanser with decyl glucoside in it. Just be aware that if you notice that you're getting irritated from a cleanser, very commonly it is going to be the surfactant in the cleanser. And two very common ingredients that seem to cause allergy in people with contact allergens are decyl glucoside and cocamidopropylbutane, which is the second most common contact allergen in the pediatric population. It's also very commonly in sensitive skin cleansers. So it's just something to think about, because when you see this is hypoallergenic or it's derm approved and all this stuff, a lot of times they still have these two ingredients as their surfactant. So it's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, don't expect these. This kojic acid soap is everywhere. It's very affordable, so it's not like a high risk for people to purchase it, but just don't expect these tremendous results. The next product is the First Aid Beauty KP Bump Eraser. So this is for anybody with keratosis pilaris, body bumps. Those are those scaly bumps on the arms and the legs. And this product is product that we've personally recommended many, many times before.
Yeah, it's an OG, and it has staying power, and there's good reason. It's got a good physical exfoliant, good combination of ingredients to help with, I'm just reading the text here, but chicken skin, strawberry skin, KP. It's great. I still recommend it in the office all the time. It's a great product.
Yeah, 100%. So incredible product. It's got both like the pumice in it and the alpha hydroxy acids in it. So it's both a physical and a chemical exfoliant for those scaly bumps on the arms and legs. Now, it's probably not going to help much with the redness or any pigmentation. Maybe some with the pigmentation, but probably won't help much with the redness. And I did have a patient once that was overusing this product. So they're using it every day. They came in really irritated from this. So this is something you're going to use maybe once or twice a week in the shower to really exfoliate away some of those bumps. We have a product from Remedy called Remedy for Body Bumps. It's more of a moisturizing, hydrating moisturizer that has lactic acid and urea and retinol in it to really kind of help moisturize and remove some of these bumps, but it's not a scrub. Currently sold out, so not available. If you're listening to this, we'll be sold out for a while, but you could definitely join our wait list if you're interested in that product. And if you've tried it, leave a comment below and let us know your feedback on it. The next product is bio oil, and I've tried to debunk this. It continues to emerge. Even derms recommend it for scars. And I just don't get it. I really just don't get it. So they're basically saying here, bio oil for scars. Let's talk about bio oil first, and then let's talk about what we actually recommend for scars.
All right. So bio oil, it's a combination of multiple oils, vitamin A, E. They have chamomile listed, lavender, rosemary, and I'm sure there's more. The problem, I mean, this is like straight up F tier for me, because it just doesn't do anything towards, I think, what it says it's going to do. I don't know. I mean, it's like a combination of skin oils. They're not even my favorite skin oils. They're not even, I think, very prolific in general. And it's just wildly popular with a cult-like following, and that's why it doesn't go away. Alternatively, most surgeons would much prefer, myself included, you use something with a petrolatum base or just pure white petrolatum post-operatively, and then transition to a silicone scar gel after the stitches come out as the scar matures over the next few months.
Absolutely. Silicone scar gels are certainly the way to go. They have the most efficacy behind them in the healing process. And for like a current wound, definitely petrolatum. And we'll talk a little bit about petrolatum at the end of this video because I saw this really cool article and it makes me excited. But this product is just mineral oil and allergens, basically. So
that's a good way to say it.
Lavender, fragrance, cinnamol, citronella, eugenol, geraniol, limonene, linalool. I mean, these are all very, very common allergens, but the base of this is that mineral oil. So, it's hydrating. And so, anytime you keep any wound hydrated, right? You keep any scar hydrated, you keep any stretch mark hydrated, there's going to be benefits to that. So if anyone has seen a benefit from bio oil, it's because of the hydrating properties. But there's a much better way to hydrate the skin and keep the skin moisturized to prevent a lot of these issues without having to put all these allergens on the skin. And that's why I think bio oil is potentially one of the worst products on the market, but has tremendous staying power for some reason. And a lot of people recommend it for some reason, but we cannot be bought by big bio oil. It's not going to happen. So this is not a good option. There are a lot of good other options out there that can help as well.
Wait. Let me read this real quick. I'm on the bio oil website and it says on their website, there are 11 allergens in bio oil skincare oil. As with most allergens, these are present in the plant oils and fragrance. And then they list them. That's interesting that they actually created a section on their own website to denote the 11 allergens in this product. That's wild.
That is pretty bold. It's a bold move, Cotton. And I don't understand why they would do that and why they wouldn't just remove these fragrance allergens from the product. What's sort of interesting also, but like if you go to Amazon and people buy this like crazy on Amazon. Number one, dermatologist recommended brand for stretch marks. I don't even know what to say to that. I think we've done a video. We did a video on stretch marks. You can check it out. There's also a Skinpedia article on stretch marks that you can check out. We'll link it below. Note to editors, please link below in the description of this video before we forget. The next product is the Anua Heartleaf Pore Cleansing Oil. So we've talked about this product, I think, before, and basically the way that it's being used essentially is to remove any sebaceous filaments from the skin. But this is just an oil-based cleanser. So this is an oil cleanser. It's from a Korean skincare brand called Anua, and I've used it actually. And I don't hate this product.
No. And I think one of the interesting about these oils in particular, so one is the expectations. You talked about what it's being used for. I mean, it's kind of weird what people say they're doing right now. It's like, it basically is like erasing your pores. It cleans them out fine. The lipophilic oil helps absorb. I mean, your oils absorb into the lipophilic oil you're putting on your face, and then you wash it off with a second cleanse. That's all very reasonable. It doesn't do much beyond that. The second part of it is, I've actually developed a little bit of a distaste for skin oils in general. Cleansing oils in general. And I find that my skin feels dry. It feels chapped and it feels stripped after I do this. And this Anua oil really is no exception to that. It could just be me. It could just be a personal problem. But I know we've said this before, but I've never experienced that with a cleansing balm. 0 times, except for not even the most trashiest cleansing balm that I've tried. But with skin oils, or with cleansing oils rather, it's a regular occurrence.
Yeah, I've also noticed that specifically with this product, there is, it depends on what type of skin. Like if you have oily skin, it might be something that you enjoy. But I do feel dry for some reason after I use this product. I do believe it has fragrance in it. Again, as a cleanser, I've always mentioned cleansing balms, cleansing oils, especially if you're using it as the first cleanse and a double cleanse. It really doesn't sit on the skin for long. And the functionality of it is to remove anything that's oil soluble. So if you're going to have fragrance in any part of your routine, it makes the most sense to put it in one of these products. But it does for some reason. I don't know why. For some reason, it does seem to dry my skin out. So just something to keep in mind. I do like cleansing oils. I do love a cleansing balm. I love cleansing balms. And so, this seems, I seem to prefer cleansing balms over cleansing oils for the most part lately. Next up is the Mighty Patch, cult favorite Mighty Patch to tackle those pesky pimples head on. These are hydrocolloid patches that absorb gunk inside. So if anyone's tried the Hero Cosmetics Mighty Patch, I'm a huge fan of these. They draw out basically any fluid on the skin. So that can be oil, that can be gunk within the pimple. And it just helps to protect and seal these in. The thing that I like the most about these is one, you get to hide like a really red and irritated pimple from the world. That's how kind of I use them. I was using one on my neck recently because for some reason these pimples on the neck, they take so long to go away from me. You can probably even see the one that I currently have on my neck, and I've been using a pimple patch on that one to help hide it. I also like that a lot of times people pick at their pimples, and it's a good way just to protect you from touching it. And when you touch it, you're introducing, bacteria from your fingernails on it. So I love it as a protect and hide. It does help to resolve the pimples a little bit faster for me, but it's most pimples resolve on their own without anything. So I'm a huge fan of just plain regular normal pimple patches. I've said this a million times. I still go to Mighty Patch. That's my go-to, despite the fact that tons of brands have come out with these.
Yeah, it's true, and I've always had the same. We're pretty consistent people. I like them, but I've always preferred the ones with the microdarts. I love the microdart stuff. So, but I do like these as well. But that takes us to the next one, which is number 10, the nose pore patches. Now these are hydrocolloid too, but you have a different take on these.
Yeah, so these are hydrocolloid. They help to, again, absorb oils and fluids. I just don't like the concept. Like because the reasons why I like the pimple patches is hide, protect, help heal faster. So I don't like them for the nose because I don't see the utility as much. I mean, I see that they're absorbing oil. Fine. There are a lot of other things you can do to remove oil from the nose other than putting a patch over the entire nose. And I don't like this. Like I've said in the past, your skin needs to have some breathing room in a way, right? Not like it doesn't actually need to breathe, but when you 100% occlude the skin, which this is going to do, this is what frownies do as well, the skin cannot renew itself. So even Vaseline has 99% occlusion, and with that 99% occlusion, that 1% of transparency or breathability allows the skin cells to renew themselves. So I don't like the idea of just occluding your entire nose for no good reason. You don't have the same good reasons that you have with the pimple patch. So I don't like when these are used over the entire face. I really only like them used for active blemishes.
Yeah, and so I kind of like these, to be honest, but I don't use them for prolonged periods. I feel like it similarly competes with a pore strip for that occasional deep clean where you leave it on for maybe a smaller period of time, maybe like 30 minutes, maybe an hour. I don't even remember what the package says, but like not overnight, not throughout the entire day, but let it do its work, let it absorb that gunk, and then go on with your daily routine to do the bulk of the work. And that's really where I find these fall. But at best, that's probably what they're doing for you.
Definitely. All right. So next up, we've covered 10 of 34. We're going to cover the next batch to next week on this. So stay tuned for the rest of the products as we debunk or bunk them. And we're going to be talking about the 6 ways to boost collagen in your skincare routine at home, according to Allure. And the first thing that they mention is to use retinol. So do we agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, of course we agree with that. Retinol is one of the foundational ingredients for your collagen. By far, I mean, competing for most evidence, at least the family of retinoids in general. And I mean, nothing else to say. It's foundational.
All right. The next one is peptides. So they mention here peptides, palmityl tripeptide 1, palmityl tripeptide, tetrapeptide 7. Those are the 2 ingredients that make up matrixyl. And so we've always mentioned in the past, you're going to see more and more peptides emerging on the market. And what are peptides? Peptides are short chains of amino acids. Peptides make up proteins. And depending on the size of the peptide and what type of peptide it is, it can have very specific functions. Some peptides serve as signaling molecules. They can help control muscle contraction. You can have peptides that build collagen. You can have peptides that moisturize. You can have peptides that do kind of a plethora of different things out there. But you have to know what kind of peptide you're using, because peptides in and of themselves, are everywhere, ubiquitous, and can do nothing. But certain peptides have been shown to be effective. And for anti-aging, I actually do think the peptide category can have a lot of benefits, especially if you know which peptides you're using, like a matrixyl.
Yep, I think peptides are moving their way up to becoming the best supporting ingredients across the board, but they are still that supporting ingredients. So along with probably some of the other things on this list, these will be good helpers, but not heroes.
Absolutely. All right. Next up, you have sunscreen. And sunscreen, of course, we don't have to say it. It's so funny when you read these articles. They talk about sunscreen, how you have to apply them correctly. You want to look for anything greater than SPF 30. And then, part of this, they say the 2-finger rule for your face and neck. And I just find it, I find it fascinating that this is like something we made up that is now just like become dogma in the skincare world. And I don't know who the first person is who came up with the 2-finger rule. It could have been me. I don't know if it was me. I just know that I did the study showing like how much sunscreen you need to cover the whole face, neck, and arm. It was one face, neck, and ears, and it was 1/4 teaspoon of sunscreen. And then I measured that to be equal to 2 finger lengths of my fingers. And then afterwards, every time I did a skincare routine, I would like do a piece out to two little threads there, and it's become a thing. Maybe I started it, maybe others started it, but the skincare community started it, and they started it recently, and it's just become dogma amongst everybody. And one day people will look back and just be like, oh, that's just how you do it, and nobody will know how we got there. Then they mention eating certain foods that boost collagen in the skin may or may not help. So basically they talk here about whether or not drinking collagen or any of these things can be helpful. And they basically mention that they don't know. And we kind of agree with that. Drinking collagen, some of the studies show benefits, some of them don't. I've talked about this before. I'm willing to change my mind about it if you can prove me otherwise. Similar to like a peptide, collagen, when it breaks down into little peptides. And are those peptides signaling your body to produce more collagen? If that's the case, and we can prove that, then I could buy into this idea of drinking collagen, especially if you're deficient in getting any type of collagen in your diet. However, if they can't prove that, then I'm not going to buy into this principle. And then they mention LED masks. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So collagen, same thought. I'm like I physiologically, I think it can be helpful, but probably not if you have a good, well-rounded diet, because collagen breaks down to amino acids when you absorb them. The amino acids are used by your skin to build the building blocks of collagen. Same with the combination of beans and rice and or meats. They have proteins, which are broken down to peptides, which are broken down to amino acids, which your body uses to build your own collagen. So same train of thought. And then for LED masks, again, we start as a skeptic. This is kind of what we said in the conference. Like, we actually start like scientists. You said we start with a null hypothesis. Everything is false until proven positive, basically. And we started with that with LED, same thing. And just over time, as we read it, researched it, red light in particular is going to be useful for collagen.
Yeah, and there was this interesting TikTok that came out talking about, what modality. Is it a mask? Is it a panel that's more beneficial? I actually think it was an interesting TikTok and worth diving into, try to understand, and I've seen some other, some light experts, and I don't know what you call a light expert, try to debunk that video. So it's sort of interesting. But I actually did, and anyone knows what TikTok I'm talking about, but it's basically just MD PhD student. Seems like a brilliant kid. I don't know if he's a kid. He's probably my age. Kind of breaking down red light masks. And I thought it was an interesting analysis. I think it's worth exploring. It's in, whether it's true or false, I think is, it's always good to start with the premise that, that something is false and try to, prove it correct. So we're always on that mission. I still am a huge proponent of red light in general as a therapy, and I think it's super beneficial, and I've seen a lot of benefit for it in my patients as well. And they mentioned Solar Wave, which is a wand, and I just think using a wand is probably the worst way to do this, because it would take all day to cover your entire face with the wand with the enough contact to actually see benefit with red light. So probably one of the worst ways in my mind to do it, just from an actual like utility standpoint and like the time it would take from a practicality standpoint. I think it's probably one of the worst ways to do it.
Yeah, agree wholeheartedly.
All right. And then lastly, before we wrap here, I just wanted to mention two things. One, Jake Paul is now launching a skincare brand at Walmart. And Jake Paul is a influencer, YouTuber turned boxer. Interesting sort of path that the two brothers have taken. Logan launched Prime Energy and sports beverage hydration company. It's been very, very successful. Now his brother Jake launching his own skincare line. It looks like they've launched some body washes and some deodorants, and the price point's going to be under $10. And interestingly, The Rock also launched a brand called Papa Tui, also under $10. And so, what I find really interesting is that for a period of time, influencers launched brands that were more expensive than mass brands because of their name. And now I think influencers are realizing that they need to be at the same price point as everybody else is in order to be competitive. And maybe the name is now just giving you a better reason to buy it over competitive prices in the same range. So it'll be interesting to see how successful it is. The branding is extremely bold. Do I think it's anything groundbreaking as far as an ingredient perspective? No. But Prime was very, very successful. So, if you're looking for a new body wash for a man that likes bold colors in the bathroom, not a bad idea. And finally, how Vaseline grew to become a $1 billion beauty brand. And they basically mention how Vaseline's been around for 150 years. And over the 150 years, even in the last 12 months, it's posted double-digit growth. And they credit this to basically it being a viral TikTok sensation for slugging and otherwise. And I think it's fascinating. And the reason why I bring this up is because Vaseline and petrolatum in general, 3-4 years ago, was one of the most demonized ingredients on social media in general. People, it comes from petroleum, it's refined petroleum, but it's an incredibly safe ingredient, especially pharmaceutical grade petrolatum, the one that's being used in Vaseline. And to see it get a resurgence the way it is today, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's also the least you can't buy like a child's Hot Wheels toy for the price that you can buy a tub of petrolatum. I think it's still $2 for a tub, like $4 for a tub. So, I mean, it's incredibly useful, incredibly helpful, top tier in class for what it does. Occlusion, wound healing, doesn't bring much moisture to the table, but in its respective role, SSS tier, as they say.
Completely agree. I've said it before. I think if there was a Nobel Prize for a skincare ingredient, it would be petrolatum. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for sticking with us. Please like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Spotify. Check us out on iTunes. Leave a review. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll get to see a little bit more interaction, a little bit more fun. And we will see you all next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Appreciate you.